Hey guys, so I just wanted to go ahead and make a how to do a basic mashup video. A couple of you guys have been asking how to do this, and I just wanted to basically this will be a beginner's guide to making a basic mashup. Basically, the skills I'm going to go over in this video are how to sync up two songs. It's primarily what I'm gonna go over in this video here. So you have your two songs imported into Audacity. The first thing that I do is every single song always has a little bit of extra space here at the beginning, and that can throw off syncing your music. So what I go ahead and do is I find the first, like they come in these little sections, you can tell by the little dots, little increments. The first section that doesn't have any dimension to it, that's when the song begins. I'm going to go ahead and just delete that. So you can I click it and drag it all the way to the back beginning, and I said delete. Get rid of that. And then same thing for the second song. By the way, the idea I'm going to be trying to do in this tutorial here is a mashup idea of my own. It's Quadratic System from Metroid Prime 3 or 2 actually, and Spider Dance from Undertale, which I'm sure most of you guys are already familiar with. So basically, I've deleted the little beginning portion here of both songs. In addition to that, sometimes songs have little intros that are clearly distinct from the other parts of the song, that often are different in musical structure to the rest of the music, and so you could like sync up that intro part, but then the rest will be desynced, because the rest of the music is different. The most infamous example of this I've seen so far is the Alpha's theme from Undertale. Don't try and work with Alpha's theme in a mashup. It's very difficult. Doable, but very difficult. So basically, what the whole point of syncing is to make sure that a bar or measure are lined up. Basically, they're the exact same time. Now, a bar and measure in music is basically like, I mean, I'm not really like proficient in like music knowledge, but basically it's like a section of music down to its like basic unit. So how to explain this? Let me just give a couple examples. I'll show you Quadraxis's bar and measure, and then I'll show you Spider Dance's bar and measure, just the first one. And basically, it's this little part that repeats at increments. So Quadraxis appears to be about 4.4 seconds, and then again at 8.8 seconds, and so on and so forth. So I'll tell you when you hear one. That's one. That's two. So that was 2 bars right there. They're at regular intervals, okay? So this is kind of like the intro to Quadraxis. It has the most basic instruments in it. When we get to right here, after the second measure, we kind of hear this voice come in. So that's kind of our intro, and this is kind of where the song gets into the main portion. And so that's what you can kind of use to judge bars and measures. Now, you could do this 2 ways. If you can learn to listen for them, like you listen for the repeat of bar, like you could do that, you just listen. And then you hear the repeat right here. And then you hear the repeat right here. And right here. And right there. You can listen for them, or you can look at the actual sound waves themselves in Audacity here. So I'm estimating that the based on how this sound wave looks, I think it's somewhere around right here, just because it kind of goes thin and then it gets really thick all of a sudden, which indicates that a new bar or measure has began. So that's kind of accurate, but we want to kind of get a little more accurate than that even. So this requires us to kind of zoom in and be really picky about it. So it appears to be right here. So what you want to look for is a major shift in the music structure. So right here it's kind of flat a little bit, and it gets really spiky all of a sudden. and so it's a pretty safe bet that the measure begins somewhere around here. And it looks like my guess is correct. So basically what you've now done is you've listened for it, so you know approximately where it is, and you went in and you found the exact little dot, a little increment where the measure began and end. So what you do with this information now is I've developed a helpful little equation. Here it is on the screen. Basically, I'm just going to kind of explain this whole diagram I've built here. This, by the way, works with the time of your measure, which it's 4.33051 seconds. Or you could work at BPM, and you can use like a tool to find BPM. Like there's this one right here called MixMeister BPM Analyzer, and so this equation will work both for MixMeister. Let me show you that. Sorry, MixMeister BPM Analyzer right here. This will tell you 2 BPMs. It's not always accurate though, but it gives you a kind of rough estimate. So you just take the values and you can put it in this equation. So, or you could do what I've done here, and you could listen for the beginning and end of the measure, and then you take this information right here. And so this equation, to kind of explain it, is song 1 is the song that has the longer measure or the higher BPM. Song 2 has the shorter one and or lower BPM. So you just kind of take those values, like a BPM, let's say 170, and BPM 150. You take that, you divide 170 by like 150, just an example. Let me hide that real quick. Or actually, I can move it. Let me just move it. So you can take like 170 BPM and divide it by 150 BPM. Okay, so then you get this value that's this parenthetical number right here. You subtract 1 from it, because you got currently at like a 100%, so 113%. You want to make it 13%, so you subtract 1. If you don't know why that is, you need to retake high school algebra. Sorry to say. So then you have a 13% value right here, and what you want to do is, this is in decimal form. You want to convert it to percentage form, and so you just multiply it by 100, which is what you do right here. So this boxed in area that you see right here, your PEMDAS from algebra class, you should all remember that, hopefully, unless you haven't had algebra class yet. So you have your parentheses. That is the first value. You subtract 1. That converts it into a decimal. Then you take the whole thing in the box, multiply it by 100. That gives you the percentage value, which I indicate right here. You take that percentage value, and this is right here. So song 1, you would multiply this 13.333 by, and it should sync up song 1 with song 2. So this is just a hypothetical example. I didn't mean to do that. Hypothetical example right there. But we're going to give you the practical example. So let's see, anything else didn't explain in here? Yeah, you use your PEMDAS, song 1, song 2, BPM, or seconds long of measure, which one they are. If you want your mashup to be faster paced, use this equation up here. This is this fast speed up song 1 to match the speed of song 2. This is for action-y sounding ones. So you're going to be faster paced if it's more an action-y feel to the mashup. But if you want more atmospheric mashup, you want to go with the second equation down here, which is for slower stuff. You want to slow down song 2 to be as slow as song 1, or slow down song 1 to be slow as song 2. So what you're going to do is for that one, let's say you have a bar time of I don't know, 2.25 seconds. So then you divide it by the longer measure actually, which is say 2.75 seconds. So then we get this value right here. So you take this in parentheses, this value right here, and you take 1 and subtract it from the parenthetical value. So you could just copy this, type in 1 minus, and then paste your number, and then you got the 18%. This is in decimal form. This is in percent form. So that's why you say you got to multiply 100 on this equation right here. So basically, what you do then. Did I really cover that up? Yes, you do 225 divided by 275, subtract 1 from that, and then convert it to a percent by multiplying by 100%. You got 18, so basically you would slow, and you see it says negative value in the top section of the bottom equation, negative value. So what you do is then you take this number right here, and you multiply song 1 by this, but negative, so negative 18.18181818. You get the point. So this little equation right here You can find it referenced in my mashup to-do list at least once, or the mashup hub rather. So let's go ahead and just show you where that is real quick. I need to get rid of this. So we're looking for the mashup equation. So this is in my mashup skills section. Basically, the parts that we're going to go over in this video are these steps right here. And that includes the helpful equation. So you could just click on the mashup skills section tab right here. You just click on this little tab, click that, and you'll be taken right down here. And here's your couple equation. Just click that link, and there's the thing. You could download it if you want to keep it, or you can keep it right here. So that's for you to use. I found it to be very helpful. Oftentimes the equation just gives you like a rough estimate. Oftentimes you'll need to refine that value you've come up with. I'll probably be demonstrating that here in a moment. Let's go ahead and just do that right now. So we found the bar time of the Quadratic System, which we found to be 4.33051. Now we need to do spider dance too, so we'll do that. So spider dance seems to have a measure time of about 8.34788 seconds, but that seems a little long. So I'm going to re-listen to it again and see if that's maybe 2 measures. So let's go ahead and just listen to that again. So I think that is the time of the measure. So the value that we're going to have right here, let me just take this. Let's copy that so we don't lose it. Just paste it into a notepad file for safekeeping. Do whatever you need to do. So they say that the time for this measure is approximately 8.3. Gotta clear the calculator. 8.34789. Now, if this was 2 measures and not 1, I'm going to go deposit this value in my notepad again. If this was 2 measures and not 1, we could just take this and divide it by 2. Simple enough. And check and see if a measure ends at 4.17 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and check that now. .17 should be right here. And so let's listen to this. So it seems my suspicions were correct. The bar measure length is actually 4.174, which is why we tested for that. So this value right here, we will subtract. Let's just add this better value here. So top value here is song 1 and song 2. So we refer back to the equation. These are the values I've generated here, actual values that will actually work. And so here I'm going to show you how to do this equation right now. So song 1, as I said in the equation, over song 2. So that means we divide song 1 by song 2. Simple enough. Take this value right here, there's top song 1 value, paste it in. If that didn't work, let's try again. Let's paste it in, hit the divide sign, and then get your second value for song 2, enter it in, and we calculated a decimal value of 1.03. Now, like I said, that is in decimal, not percentage, so we need to actually subtract the 1, if you'll remember the equation for the fast-paced mashup, which this will be a fast-paced mashup. So you get song 1 divided by song 2, subtract the 1. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so then we got the value in decimal form, but we need to convert it into percentage form. So the next thing we do, as per the equation I have developed for you to use, and for myself to use, of course, we're going to go ahead and subtract, multiply the whole thing by 100% to convert it into a percentage value. So hit the times sign, 100, there we go, 3.75%, which is actually very minimal. So then song 1, which is Quadratic System, we go ahead and do that, go into tempo. Notice it says change tempo without changing percent change. So we have a percent change here, so we converted a percent here now. So we go ahead and enter in the percentage. Oh, by the way, if you can type in the BPM of song 1 and BPM of song 2, and it'll kind of calculate that for you if you want. Don't whichever way works for you. I mean, if you want to use a cheat way, the cheating method, you could use something like MixMeister, or actually, let me show you this other tool real quick. It's called Audio Keychain. It'll kind of give you your BPM right here, 115, 165. Let's see how that value actually looks compared to the value I come up with. See, these tools aren't very accurate, so sometimes they'll like double or cut in half your times that you need. So this one appears to have cut that and doubled it instead of what we actually need. So this isn't a very reliable method. The most reliable method I've found is definitely to go ahead and measure the bar and measure lengths and do the calculations. So we're going to go ahead and multiply Quadratic System here now. And so now we should have synced up the songs, mostly. So we need to go in and listen to them and manually check and make sure that they are fully synced. Okay, so I can already kind of tell that they're a little bit offset, because here's the end of bar 2 I mean, and here's the end of bar 2 for Spider Dance. So they're offsetted, so that means we need to slow down Quadratic System just a little bit. This is where you have to refine the values just a little bit. So 3.751 is a little too much, so let's go with 3.74. Let's try that. Listen to that again. Oh, by the way, you may find that one song is drastically overpowering the other one, which Spider Dance is doing, so I'm going to try lowering it by 2 decibels. Then we're going to try that again. Let's listen. So it's still a little bit offset. Let's go ahead and change it to, let's try 3.7. See how that sounds. Actually, before we do that, Spider Dance did need to turn down just a little more, so let's try -4. How about -4? Let's try that. That's a good value. So let's re-multiply Quadratic System by a new value of 3.7, and let's give it a listen. Okay, that sounded pretty good, looked pretty good, so let's continue listening to make sure that it's all good. So you can't just check it once, you have to check it all the way throughout the song. So clearly over to here. Now, clearly you can see that Spider Dance is a lot shorter than Quadratic System, so that's where the knowledge of how to loop a song comes in. But that's not what I'm covering in the lesson here. I'm basically just going to be, like I said, based off the skill list I've presented on the Mashup Hub, I'm just kind of going through all these listens right here. Music Association is coming up with 2 ideas, which you guys are good at doing, is you make requests. So you got the first step done right now, coming up with a mashup idea. So you could listen to it, or you could look at the waveform as I showed you. So I've already showed you all of this. So basically you need to know how to use least common multiples, fractions, percentages, or you could just use the equation I've developed for you here, which employs this knowledge I have right here. And so the final part of this is to have a perfected sync. So all these steps right here will be covered once I'm done. So the last step right here is to perfect the sync. So that's what we're doing. We are refining our sync value to make sure that it is all the way synced up, because it might change right here. So let's look at this. Like, it looks pretty good, but we'll have to listen to it just to make sure. Okay, so I noticed a little bit of a desync again. So we have a bar end here and a bar end here. So Quadratic System is still going a little too fast. There's edit undo using Control-Z. I use Control-Z. You can hit edit undo, whichever one works for you. I'm going to try doing it by 0.05% less. 3.7 to 3.65. Let's listen to that. Let's see how that sounds. Quadratic is still a little too fast, so we'll go ahead and take it down to 3.6. It still sounds a little too fast. Let's just verify where Quadratic actually ends. Sometimes you need to slow things down. You could use this tool up here. Just drag it down, hit play. So it looks like the Quadratic measure actually ends right here. And we still are off by this much. So let's go ahead and slow it down by a smaller value this time. Let's try 3.58. Let's try this. Okay, so they've had a major desync again. So we're gonna go ahead and slow down. Wouldn't it be ironic if this whole time I was teaching how to do this and these two were incompatible? Basically, if you find that you need to keep refining the tempo the whole time and you get to the end and you think you finally refined it, but you gotta listen to it from the beginning again and it's off, that means that you have incompatible songs. But that's more advanced techniques. Basically, this first technique is just to kind of show you how to sync songs. It's the most basic step of mashup. And it took me about 12 mashups before I finally had this skill mastered down. So that's 12 bad, unsynced, improper mashups that I had to do before I really started to grasp this idea on how to really perfect the sync. So it's okay if you don't have perfect syncs on your first go. That's all right. It's part of the learning process. If you want to make a mashup and you want me to critique it, I'll be completely honest with you if I find something wrong with it. That way you can fix it around your next time, or even fix that very mashup itself if you save your Audacity project. You see, I save all my Audacity projects. I'll just go ahead and demonstrate real quick here what I do. I have an Audacity project folder here, and look here, I have 728 files, which means you have one shortcut and you have one folder for every single mashup. So that means I actually have 728 divided by 2. I actually have 364 mashups in here that I have saved. So yeah, I save my stuff. I mean, it starts getting very large in file size, so you don't have to keep things like I do, because look how big it is, right? 12, 15, 18, 20, 22, 25, 27, 30, 34, 35, 40, 41.2 gigabytes just in Audacity project. So you don't have to do this. In fact, I really should clean this out soon, but that's beside the point. So we need to perfect the sync on this one. We're still a little bit off, so we need to just slow it down a little more. Wrong tool. Let's try 3.5. Okay, so that sounds like a good point to check. Let's go ahead and check them. So I've slowed down Quadratic just a little too much, so we actually need to increase the tempo by just a little bit. Let's try 3.52. Let's see, that appears to be too much. 3.51. That's looking better. That's almost perfect. Just a little too slow. We can go ahead and then try 3.15. 3.51. 5. That's too much. 3.512. That looks to be about perfect. So this is just a basic step of mashups. There's obviously a lot more I have to do this mashup before I make this ready for YouTube. I got to extend spider dance to meet the quadratic length, I got to find the loop point of quadratic, which is about halfway point right here, and then find the loop of spider dance that'll match that, and then loop it once, which I usually loop it once, like so it runs through one time and loops again, and then I have like a little loop again, but it fades out. It's about 10 seconds. I need to do a little surgery because clearly we have quiet points right here in quadratic and loud points when spider dance is quiet, while quadratic is loud, and it's loud when quadratic is quiet. So we need to either lower or raise the audio on those points, or we need to do a little surgery. Even more than that, I mean, as you can see, there's a lot of different steps you can do to kind of make your mashup better and make it like yours, like it's your mashup. But this is kind of just the basic steps I wanted to go over here, just so you could do a basic like beginner's mashup. And I think we're pretty much at the point right now. If I just adjust this value just a little more, we should have a precise sync value. You know, sometimes it won't be perfect. You might be off by like 1/100th of a second or like 1/1000th of a second. That's, you know, that's all right. Even if you go off by like 1/10 of a second, most people won't hear it. Only people like me and other people who do mashups will hear that, but most people will not hear it. So again, if it's like 1/10 of a second off, which would be like 1.41 to 1.42 or 1.40, even 1/10 of a second off, like it really is fine. Most people won't hear that. I would. People like me would. Basically, these two songs are flatlined at this little dot, so I can tell definitively that these are now perfectly synced. So I'm just going to give you one quick listen again to see what this sounds like, and then I'm going to go ahead and close off this video and upload it to YouTube. So what you just heard is, like I said, it's not going to be the final product that you're going to hear on YouTube. I'm going to make it a lot better than this. I got a lot more editing to do. But for the purpose of a beginner mashup like this, what I hear would be just fine. You just would need to shave off the extra bit of the other song is longer. You know, just shave it off. Do that, and you'd be done. You know, that'd be good. Be good for your beginner mashup. You know, you don't have to have high expectations when you're first starting off. So this should give you a good basic understanding of how to do this. Hopefully I explained it well enough. If you still have any questions, you know, don't be afraid to send a comment to the video, or don't be afraid to even you know, ask that I listen to one of your mashups that you've done to critique it. Because like I said, you know, I'll be completely honest with you if there's something you need to fix with it, and that's to your benefit, so you can make the improvements you need to do. So yeah, leave any questions you got left over in the questions or the comment section, and if you got a mashup you want me to listen to, you know, go ahead and just leave a link in the comment section of this video to it. Now I'll critique it for you. I'd be glad to do that. Well, hope you got something out of this. Hope you if you're going to start doing mashups, hopefully this was insightful for you, and hope you enjoyed it.